Good afternoon everyone, welcome to my latest video, thank you very much for tuning in. Just a quick thank you to everyone that's continued to subscribe and support me, and any new subscribers that I've got, you're very much appreciated. So as you can see everyone, there's been a new hate speech legislation passed in Scotland which brings George Orwell's 1984 ever closer to us. And this hate speech bill has it's been in the works now for 3 years. I think it was actually originally passed in March 2021. And what it pretty much is it's a bill that's going to stifle free speech. Now that is the goal here. This is what they want people silenced. Now their narratives are falling apart. Their transgender narratives and the sort of woke side of things, people are really starting to, they've had enough of it now, and everyone's sort of unified on the fact that it's not going to get us anywhere. So they are needing to try these new tactics now. Could argue that when it was passed, wokeism was very much still on the go, or it was on the go, and it still is. That said, it's still going to change this society, which has always been the goal. Now, this bill, this is how bad it's gotten. If you're sitting at a dinner party, or you're having dinner at your home with friends and family or whatever, and you say something that offends someone, they can then report you for a hate crime. Now, see, this is how you know it's bad, because, I mean, I've read the bill. The bill, it's just jargon, it's nonsense. There's nothing in there that you wouldn't expect from a civilised society anyway. Any decent person's going to abide by sort of what they're saying, but like I say, it's just jargon. It doesn't really make any sense. You actually need to listen to the people who are pushing it. And I've taken some screenshots, but I'm going to read out in a second. But they've I think it's going to be targeting people that are telling the truth now. So for example, obviously transgenderism is a big part of it. So if someone says at a dinner party, I believe men and women are different, they're biologically different, the chromosomes are different. If someone who is offended by that, or doesn't agree with that and gets offended because they don't agree with it, can then go and report you at one of these sites that they've set up, which has been labelled as snitch sites. I find it ironic that they've set up one of those in Glasgow, like, it's really, but it just shows you that, and it goes right into what I said. They're going to press ahead with this anyway. Now there's a really simple solution to that. Don't have arseholes at your dinner table. Make sure you, and this is why, I mean, I know we need unity and all the rest of it, but this is really, really bad, because who is it that decides what hate speech is? Well, they do, as David Icke's been saying for many years. And that means that it's not even really about the words. It's more about the person. All that person really needs to do is be offended, and then they will then define the hate, sort of the hate crime from the person being offended. And what kind of punishments are they going to be handing out for the offenders or the committers of these crimes? Is it heavy jail sentences just to get rid of people? And they've actually, the Scottish Government, it's one of the toughest bills they've passed. They had loads of problems with it. It's probably why it's been lying for 3 years. It goes live on April the 1st, April Fool's Day. You need to be a fool to believe it, that's why. Or to buy into it and to think it's a good thing, because it's not. But they had to stand down on they kept having to stand down on certain provisions on it, because it does stifle free speech. Now, I'll say it again, when you read the bill, there's nothing in there that I don't agree with anyway. That people deserve to practice their religion. They deserve not to be told that they're not allowed to practice that religion, or even that you're not allowed to use threatening and aggressive behaviour to get them to stop it. Right, okay, that's all fine. That's all been agreed for a very long time. So why do we need this new bill? Because they need to stifle the truth. And this is the only way to do it. I've said it before, it's in the Game of Thrones books. You're not, when you cut out a man's tongue, you're not calling him a liar. You're just showing the world you fear what he's going to tell them. And that's what this is. It's cutting out the tongue of people. There's a very easy solution to it. Don't have idiots at your dinner table. But think about it for a second. And in fact, I'll get to the screenshots actually, right? So this was a superintendent. I can't remember his name. Someone Hussein, his name is. And this is what he said. We know it can be hard for people to report a hate crime, and in some cases to even recognise or acknowledge that they have been a victim. So what that means is to even recognise or acknowledge. So if they don't recognise or acknowledge it, how can they feel victimised? What, are you going to tell them they're a victim? Actually, you should be victimised, and you should feel bad about that. You should actually get them done for that. Report them to us just now. We want everyone targeted by hate crime, or those who witness it, to have confidence to come forward. They can be assured they will be treated with dignity and respect, and that the circumstances they report will be fully investigated. So, so if I say something, it doesn't even need to be about transgenderism. It could be anything that questions someone's belief system. And I can tell you now, I've been coming out with information for 10 years now that's done that. And the amount of people I've offended and the arguments I've had with it they're countless. Some of the crap that I'd taken way back at the start, even way after it, from people, like really nasty stuff, really aggressive, simply because I'd given my opinion that questioned what they'd already believed. And like I said, when someone starts to get angry when that happens, it's just the subconscious reminding the conscious mind of the social program that they've gone through. In other words, that they're being lied to. They're lying to themselves, and it's a reminder of that. And it's obviously that's difficult. Of course it is. But now they've created a bill where if that happens, because they feel offended, so that means it's a hate crime. They can then report that, and you can get the person arrested because they've said their opinion. And they're trying to say that isn't stifling free speech. It even says here, figures released by the Crown Office and Procurator Fiscal last year showed a 2% drop in hate crimes in Scotland. So if there's a 2% drop, why is it needed? There's always going to be idiots. You're always going to have that until people grow up. It's almost like a process. I mean, obviously some people are worse than others with the hatred they give out or what they get involved in. But the vast majority of us grow up. We all make mistakes. This is hate hurts, and this is what they're saying. This is their mantra. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may make me feel hated. What? Just words in general. So again, let's apply what I've just said to this. So someone's reading a book and they get offended by words, and they then feel hated. What, are they going to arrest the author of the book? The book might have been written 40 years ago. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words make me feel hated. Well, when I was young, it was sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That's strength, that's power. I don't care. As long as you're not hitting me with sticks and stones, I don't care. I'm a powerful, sovereign being. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. I'm growing up enough to have the philosophy that your opinion of me is none of my business, and it doesn't matter to me. That's your business. That builds strong children, because that's what I was told. Words make me feel hated. That builds weak people and children. That puts weakness. Because that means that when I was going through, before I woke up and people were trying to help me and say to me, like, to get my life together and all the rest of it, I would often feel offended by the words they were saying and feel a little bit hated at times. So under this new bill, now, if that had happened now, I can go and get them charged. When you're educating or getting educated, there's going to be times where you're going to feel overwhelmed by what you're being told, because challenging information, and it's because we've been in this social programming for so long, this endless cycle of nonsense. That can be difficult. Some of us break out of it better than others or easier than others, but I mean, no one had a harder time with it than me. I've said this before. This is why there's hope for everyone. But this throws a spanner in those works. Like, that's it. It's just. Well, here we go. Ministers for Victims and Community Safety, Siobhan Brown, said this: "Well, we respect everyone's right to freedom of expression. Nobody in our society should live in fear or made to feel like they don't belong." Do you know something? I agree with that. And yet, you're saying you're for freedom of expression, Siobhan Brown, but this is... no one's going to want to express themselves now, because they're going to be worried that someone's going to feel hated by the words they've said. And then they're going to phone the police or go to these snitch sites, as they're being labelled. So how you can sit there and have and present a bill like this and advocate it while using the words that you respect freedom of expression, that's cognitive dissonance. That's believing two things that can't be true. They both can't be true. You either believe one or the other. To believe both is cognitive dissonance. So maybe someone needs to explain that to her. Police Scotland have set up, according to the government, the law will provide greater protection for people with protected characteristics including religion, sexual orientation and transgender identity. Police Scotland have set up third-party reporting centres dubbed snitch sites, where victims of witnesses of hate crime may report an incident indirectly or to a trusted third party. So they can even go and give it to a third party. So that's unbelievable. That's cowardice on a level that's just... there's no words. Because civilised societies have already got things for hate crimes, and there's already laws for stuff like that. No one should feel discriminated against. But yet, I feel discriminated against nearly every week. Do I get upset? Yes. Am I going to go and phone the police on them to report of a hate crime? No. You go through a complaints process or whatever, and that's it. But that's not what this is about. This is about shutting people up. And because that's what they need to do, and this is why during the lockdowns, there were so many doctors being censored. I mean, it happens even now on YouTube, comments get removed. They can't have this is why it's all about the information control. This is why you need to change the information playing in your mind. Like, you can't just go to one place for it. And I love it how, like, when you do come out with these truthful things to people, and it's trying to help them, you're trying to show them love by telling them the truth. When you're trying to do that, it's obviously very difficult. I mean, I forgot where I was going with that there. Police Scotland says that hate crimes behaviour, which is both criminal and rooted in prejudice. Under their guidance, this includes threatening behaviour, verbal abuse or insults, including name-calling, assaults, robbery and damage to property like graffiti dubbed on walls. I'm pretty sure you can already get charged for that. I was absolutely stunned when I'd seen it today. It was actually a Douglas Murray interview that I'd seen, and And he put it very well, actually. He said that a lot of creativity comes around dinner tables. It's where you sort of try out and talk about new ideas. So that means that when you are talking about these new ideas, that somehow if someone doesn't like what you've said, because now you can charge someone if you're offended by their words, that's it. You can just do that and call the police. It's just absolutely unreal. It really is. And Scotland has been a test ground for this now for a few years. I mean, they were the first smart city in Britain, apparently. They've got plenty. They've got ULEZ cameras. We've now got this bill. And anyone that thinks that Nicola Sturgeon was a sort of a saviour is delusional, because she if she was still there now, it would still, well, she was there. She would have been there when that was getting passed. Actually, it was in 2021. So she is a criminal. There's no doubt about it. But she's an administrator for these people. That's why she'll never go to jail for it until we do something about it. But we need to start being stronger, everyone. I know it can be difficult at times. That's what I was saying there. I mean, sometimes when you're trying to tell people the truth, it can be very, very difficult. You can offend people, but it's to tell them the truth, and it's never pretty. And hard truths they're just that. They're hard. That's why the truth hurts. But it's been the best for me in the end. I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I got told those things. I'm glad I found out about it. Was it hard in the beginning? Yes. Was it the right thing? Would I change it? No chance. If you offered me a time travel machine to say, Alan, you could go back to 2014, right to the moment where you kind of blew up with all this stuff and started getting into it, and you could take it back, and then you could obviously have £1 million instead of that. There's just no way I would take you up on it. No chance in hell. Because it's just so beneficial to have woken up and become a real person. That's what's brilliant about the Pinocchio story. It's why it's just amazing how he takes a leap of faith with his consciousness, and he goes out into the deep dark beyond. And then he finally gets. I mean, he dies basically, or he comes out the water dead, and then the magic for the universe comes and touches him and wakes him up and becomes a real person. Because what's the alternative? You're just a hee-haw jackass in someone else's salt mine. So that's why you need to wake up and become real and face the hard truths about yourself first and foremost. Because once you do that, it changes the game, because you can start taking responsibility. This is just another way for people to shun responsibility. I don't want to hear it. That's what this is. And I know we call for unity, but if you're going to have people at your... And this is the thing, how do you know who that's going to be, though? It could just... I used to sit with people all the time, and people used to get very aggressive, like I said, with the information that I would give them. So if you had that conversation when you're having dinner with a friend now, and you kind of have a little disagreement, and it gets heated as it often does with this stuff, because it's easier to fool someone than to convince them that they've been fooled. They can now report you. I've had to say it again, because this is where we're headed. And anyone that I've had quite a lot in the comments where people are saying, "Oh, you're exaggerating the Chinese analogy and the social credit system. It's not true," and all the rest of it. And this is how it begins. This is the kind of thing that they've got over there. So the answer is, grow up and face the music. As I've had to. I'm not asking, I say this to my siblings all the time and people around, I'm not asking, it doesn't really matter to me whether you do it or not, but if you've got problems and you're not happy with your life, then try it. But if you're going to be getting offended by words, just by words, that they'll define later what the hate is, obviously, that's basically what they're saying, then what chance have we got? Go and have a think about it. But this is where we're at. It's here. 1984 is here. I would like to thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. It'll more likely be on a live. Okay, have a good weekend.